So a lot of you will have found that you're now working from home. It might be because your employee has requested that you work from home, or it could be that you, unfortunately, and I'm really sorry for you if this has happened, that you've lost your job, and perhaps you're thinking, what are you going to do? It may be that you already run a business from home. It could have been a part-time business and you're quite used to working from home. But there's a lot of people I know that are struggling. I'm seeing lots of posts and I'm seeing lots of memes that are coming through about how tricky it is to work from home. And of course it can be tricky because you've got the kids around, possibly. You might have other family members around, and you might have other people that you live with in the home as well. So it is quite a tricky situation, particularly for those of you that are not used to it. Now, my name is Sunny Love, for those of you that don't know. My business is Sunny Love Lifestyle. We actually help people run a home business. Okay, so what gives me the authority to talk to you about how to work from home? Well, first of all, I've been in business for myself for over 30 years. I've run many companies, from running network marketing companies, and back in the day they were called direct selling companies. So I ran a network marketing company. I've also run a very, very successful IT training company for 15 years. I then met my most wonderful business partner, Eileen, and we ran an IT training company which was specifically to teach people online. We also then went on to teach them how to build their own websites. And then we created a social media marketing company before the likes of Instagram were even available. And then we went on to run a webinar training company. I've also since then been a yoga teacher and a network marketer, an affiliate marketer, a blogger, and up until recently we were also traveling. All right, so let's get on to my 12 tips of working from home. The first one is to make sure that you've set up a dedicated space of working. So you've got your laptop or your PC, make sure that you've set up a dedicated space. Around the dining table is not ideal, so if you can go to a separate room, make that the place that you go to work. It makes sure that you're more productive, and it means that you don't have to keep moving around. You know, ideally, don't sit with your laptop on your lap. It's actually not very healthy for you anyway. Hey, Robin, how lovely to see you. Happy birthday for yesterday, by the way. I hope you had an interesting birthday celebration, and I hope you got lots and lots of messages that came through for your birthday as well. So number 2, it's really important that when you're working from home that you set your own hours. Now, this is particularly important if you have clients that you deal with, if you've got customers, if you're employed and you've got a certain amount of work to do, or you've got people to get in touch with. Make sure that they know what your hours of work are, and make sure that your family members or the people that are living with you also know what your hours of work are, and actually say to them, look, just treat it as if I am going out to work. So that they know that this is the time for work, that mum, dad, or the sister, brother need to have that time to themselves to ensure that they get their job done. Okay, so put down any of your own tips. Those of you that have worked from home in the past, put down your own tips below as well, because it's going to help everybody. I mean, the whole thing about this is that we are also building communities and we want to help everybody. So I hope that this is helping you. Number 3, get dressed. I've seen so many pictures of people in their onesies or their pajamas, and that's all right. You know, that's a bit of fun. And of course we want to have fun. We want to kind of lighten the heavy sort of doom and gloom feeling that a lot of us are having at the moment. So get out of your onesie, get out of your pajamas, and ensure that you get dressed. So what I mean by that is you don't have to be wearing a suit particularly, but just dress, you know, semi-smart, semi-casual. Do your hair, do your makeup, put your lippy on. Hey Charlie, lovely to see you. You know, put your lipstick on, but for you fellas, don't be putting your lipstick on, because that will be really strange, and if someone sees you, they'll think that's odd, that's for sure. So tip number 4, eat your meals on a regular at your regular times, and and try not to eat your meals where your workstation is, because it's really easy for us to end up just totally focused on the job that we're doing and eating our meals at the same time. It's actually not very good for your digestive system. You want to get up, go to the place where you want to eat your food, and actually eat your food at that point, and it gives you a good chance of having a break. Which leads me nicely on, it's really important that you do create those breaks for yourselves. Okay, so when you take a break, ensure that you do something that is totally unrelated to the job. And here's a little tip for you. I think Eileen, I don't know whether you remember this, but we used to use Pomodoro. Do you remember? And it's a great productivity system where you set your timer for, I think it was 20 to 25 minutes. So you set your timer, and then in that time of 20 to 25 minutes, you totally focus on one task. Don't do lots of little bits and pieces. So you're in a chunk of time and you totally focus on what that task would be. You then, when the timer goes off, you then set it for 5 minutes. During that 5 minutes, you move away, you stop doing the task, you go and have a break, you read a book, you knit, you do something else. And then when the timer goes off, you come back and you set for another 25 minutes, and you carry on doing the previous task that you were doing. You do this 4 times. Okay, so 4 times, you set 25-minute chunks. In that 25-minute chunks, you make sure that you carry on doing the same task until it's totally complete. All right, now of course, you might be, say, like a project manager, which means that you might not be able to complete a task based on the fact that you've got to wait for other people. Now, you do the task up to the point in which you can complete the task. So that's what I mean by that. After 4 chunks of 25 minutes, what you do is you then have a break for half an hour. So that might be your tea break, it might be your lunch break, whatever that might be. So work in chunks of 25 minutes. So I hope this helps. So on to tip number 6. Tip number 6 is don't turn on the TV. Whatever you do, don't actually say, okay, I'm just going to have my breakfast and turn on the TV to catch up on the news. Do your catching up at the end of the day, because most of us tend to be more productive in the mornings anyway. So make sure you don't switch the TV on, because trust me, you'll end up watching one thing after another, and before you know it, the day has gone, and all you've been doing is sitting watching the TV. So no television, no Netflix, and no Apple TV, okay? Right, I've told you. Tip number 7, know what you intend to do at the beginning of the day. So, for instance, if you've got a diary or a planner, make sure that you've planned out exactly what your intentions are for that day. Check the diary the night before and make any adjustments and tweaks that you need to that, and actually write your task list out the night before, so that when you get to your workstation, you can then get on with those tasks at hand straight away without sort of sitting there going, what should I be doing today? And again, I have been there. I've done all these mistakes as well. Tip number 8 is using social media. Okay, so get off social media. Do not go down the social media rabbit hole, the big, deep, dark hole of watching other people's feeds, other people's posts. Don't end up clicking on a little video to watch that. Don't end up looking at the latest news about the you-know-what, which I'm not going to mention. But try not to do that, because before long, you'd have gone and watched so many videos, read so many people's posts, that you'll end up being at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and having not achieved anything at all. All right, so try to switch off social media, unless of course your business requires it. Now my business requires it, so I have social media on all the time. I only concentrate on using one platform at a time, and that tends to be Facebook. I do all of my messaging through Facebook, so it is a tool that I need to use, but not for actually just looking at people's feeds and what they're up to. It's a very focused way of using social media, which I can do on another live for you if you want to. Okay, so let's see, tip number 10. Make an agreement with your children in particular and all other family members that this is your working time and you are not to be disturbed. So make sure that you have that boundary set, that you say to people, this is my working hours, I'm not to be disturbed during this time, unless of course there's an absolute emergency. I remember when my little girl was very little, she was taught from a very early age that she wasn't to disturb mummy when mummy's working. Now, as she got a little bit older, I mean, she was always around me, she was always near me, but as she got older, she ended up helping me. So she would help me with little bits of marketing or filing or putting things away for me. It was great. It was something that we really enjoyed. And of course, it developed our relationship, of course. Tip number 11, at the end of the day, end your day. So at the end of the day, end your working time. You can now switch on social media, you can now switch on the TV, you can now go for a walk. Do those things, reward yourselves for having a really good, productive day. Okay, it's really important. Perhaps cook your food with the family, spend some time with your children, do all your communication at that point. Now, the end of your day could be just a half a day. You know, whatever works for you. You might decide just to work an hour a day, or 2 or 4 or 8 hours a day. It's entirely up to you. Last tip, tip number 12, make sure that you do actually have that quality family time. It's really, really important. Reconnect with everybody, find out how their day is, and they can find out how your day is being. How can we all help each other in this very difficult time? So I hope you found those tips useful. So lots of love to you all. Namaste, as we say. No shaking of hands, no hugs, but lots of kisses. Mwah. I'll see you later. Thank you for joining me.